Richards just 0.3 of a second behind. Greg East on the third position on the grid. Then comes Marshall Brewer, followed by the first of the Falcons, Mark Seaton, and then the man we just previewed, Grant Munday, back in 6th slot.
Terry Wyhoon's coming out of position number 7, round we recorded the time of 51.63. Off position 8, Scott.
24 cars will start in this first of 2 AUSCAR races at Oran Park. The first race, this one, over 15 laps. The next one over 10 laps. 10 laps is better than 15 because brakes and tyres are going to be awfully tired as they come up to the 15th lap position, I would think.
Yes, particularly the tyres, I think.
Pace car ready to dive off to the side, trying to hold the field back as long as it can. Now it swerves off the track, and they're racing.
And who's got the jump? It's hard to pick.
Richards moving Faulkner over. Faulkner having none of it. Meantime, down the inside comes Wyhoon.
Faulkner holds his line into the corner. Now Richards has got to stay there to try and dive into the right-hander.
It's Greg East underneath him, however. Faulkner moves across the track. East now challenging Richards on the outside.
Oh, and he's gone round.
That's Greg East.
Absolutely, and the 19 car very aggressive there, and it ended up with him being left high and dry.
Oh, here's Marshall Brewer up the inside and pushing Richards out. He's gone back to about 4th, about 5th.
Here comes Munday moving up on Richards now.
Leader already gone through. Faulkner in the 46 car, and his second place Brewer in 02. 25 Wyhoon, he's in 3rd spot, and right behind him is another Ford, the car of Seaton.
Well, that kerfuffle behind first time through the S's has given Faulkner the break that he needs. He'll now try and straighten all the corners out, use all the bitumen, and try and ease that gap away.
Richards working his way back through the field in the 35 car. Brout braked on the inside there.
Bearing a few scars down the near side of the car as we see the race leader come through. That's Faulkner in the yellow car. Here's Brewer, and right behind him Wyhoon, desperately looking for championship points today, and it's a big day of racing here at Oran Park.
Yes, that's Richards. He gave East, I'm pretty sure, the little bit of a shuffle first time through the S's, but got himself out of sync as well. But he has a dive down the inside. That's a good pass. Gone past Wyhoon into 3rd spot.
Wyhoon's been shuffling backwards for the last couple of days. Came here quite confident, but every time he tried something in the setup of the motor car, it seemed to lose him a little bit of time. What it's in fact done has lost him a fair bit of confidence.
And here's, Richards has gone down the inside and he's touched Brewer. He's turned Brewer around.
Brewer's right in the middle of the track.
Brewer, a bit of sheet metal damage, that bumper hanging off there. He gets going back in the right direction. He won't be happy, and a couple other small problems around this.
Richards now down the inside, yet again, diving for it down the inside on car 23, Mark Seaton. Well, Bruce Williams having a go too.
Aggression's not a problem. Richards seems to have plenty of that. As he comes up to Wyhoon, he's next in the sights. Yeah, it's been a spectacular couple of laps, John.
It certainly has. Wyhoon now in 2nd position. Look at Richards down the inside. Wyhoon's taken the wide line and almost gets the Marshall J. Brewers from Stephen Richards. Just stays out of his way. Just look at the eyes on Richards. He is looking 2 corners ahead. Yes.
He's got his eyes on, John, you claim. He's got the eyes on.
Oh, yeah, this man has the eyes on. He looks just like his dad, doesn't he?
Well, he's certainly setting up for a pass. I'd say would probably try and pick some pace up over the dog leg and go down the inside, but he might be a little bit too far away.
Here he comes, down the outside this time. Nice, clean line. That'll tuck him onto the back of Wyhoon down the straight. It'll give him an opportunity to leap out of the draft and go for the braking area at the other end. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether Wyhoon can hold him out.
Well, Wyhoon's going across to the left to block the braking manoeuvre, but Richards goes further and through.
Nice, clean manoeuvre. Locks up, leaves a bit of room on the inside. Wyhoon looking for it. Can't get it, however. And Richards has got the corner now. Richards in 2nd position, carrying the panel damage. In front of him, some 2 seconds in front, as you can see, is John Faulkner. Well, that's a long gap to make back, but there's a fair way to go in the race.
There's enough laps to do it. But Faulkner, of course, has just seen clean air all afternoon in this race. 11 to go, so he's certainly got plenty of time.
So for the next couple of laps, look for smooth driving from Stephen Richards.
There's Marshall with the tail moving around. Oh, they're both heavily committed under brakes.
Marshall goes straight on, doesn't even look like trying for the corner.
I think he's broken something in the end. The racing line.
They're trying to get a tow truck line onto the vehicle just to tow him infield at that particular point. This is all happening on turn at number 1. You can see the yellow flag protecting that area.
In the meantime, Richards has done a 50.1 earlier, now a 50.6, and Faulkner a 51.2.
And Faulkner really starting to move the car around now as Richards starts to close the gap on him. 1.6 seconds is the gap between the two of them. And look back to third place. Terry Wyhoon is not giving up. He is locked to the tail of Stephen Richards.
Wyhoon also slipping into the 50s.
50.5, yes.
Now, this is a great achievement by a young fellow who only a few seasons ago was running short track or dirt track hot rods and moved up onto the Thunderdome, and nobody gave him a chance at all.
Richards tried the inside run on car 91, Fiona McDonald. She blocked the corner on him inadvertently, I've got to say, and has given Faulkner the opportunity to sprint away again. Gap was down to 1.7 seconds when that occurred, but I bet it's a little more than that now.
Wyhoon certainly hasn't given up here, and I wonder, there's another car off.
Well, the 49 car sitting out of harm's way. It appears off the racing line, but nevertheless, I'll be running a caution in that area, and that's up by the dog leg.
That's Wayne Jones.
Well, I'm wondering if Richards has perhaps overheated his rear tyres a little, because he certainly got away from Wyhoon and started to close on Faulkner. But we now see that Wyhoon is pretty much back in touch with him.
6 laps remaining in the motor race, 1.7 seconds the gap between first and second position.
And Richards locked up again down there. He's certainly trying hard.
There goes car 18 back onto the track.
He was very fortunate in the first lap in that he got the break, and then there was the Schmoser behind him in the S's. He got that little buffer, was able to straighten the car out, and he's certainly going to drive it all the way home to the checkered flag.
Which he now takes, and John Faulkner just kisses the wall on the way out of the corner and takes the checkered flag to win the first of 2 heats of the Goodyear AUSCAR Championship, round 2.
Position 9, Scotty Wood, and rounding up the top 10, Anthony Lee Faulkner. Off position 5, Kim Jane, and off 6, former champion Max
9. Alongside him is Walter Giles. Then comes Ian Thomas from Queensland, in fact from Cairns in Queensland. Alongside
Spaniard Denzel Mead. Off position 15, Victoria's Robert Tinworth. Off 16 from New South Wales, Ken Laws. Off
is at Oran Park. This race to be over 15 laps, the next 2 races to be over 10 laps. And Alan Grice, to explain the situation, this race counts for grid positions in the next race, but it doesn't count for points in the title.
No, I'm not sure what they're doing with the grid positions for the second, but certainly this grid will be, I believe, the grid for the third race, which is the one that the points hang on. Now, how they arrived at that, I'm not quite certain, but that's the way it is. This grid position, I believe, will be the same for the third race, which is the points race. So really, one of the things you've really got to do this time is keep your car out of trouble. Keep your nose clean. Don't go locking things up. Don't go buzzing the engine on down changes. We've seen engines blown during the week already with people not used to heel and towing and in the braking areas and blowing engines that way with an over rev. So a lot of things
now starting to set, and that creates a problem for these drivers because the sun will be right into their eyes as they go over towards the back of the circuit.
Yes, what a good shot there. You can see Jimmy Richards with sunglasses on and the sun right in his face. Now it makes it very difficult because unless you replace the screens on these cars every time you go out, they do have a lot of very fine stone pits on them, and it's almost like they've been sandpapered, and you get that glass at the wrong angle, and it's very difficult to see through.
Richards warming up his tyres now, and that's a real problem again to get enough heat in the things around here.
Yes, it is, because you're doing your warm-up lap behind the pace car, and the pace car is going pretty slowly in race car terms, so they'll be starting with tyres that are basically cold. So you'll see a lot of lock-ups into the first corner, I'd suggest.
And missing from the grid is George Elliott. I understand he's had a wretched couple of days at the motor races.
Well, George Elliott is in fact in Denzel Mead's motor car, so he's taken over the car 58 of Denzel Mead.
And of course, at the moment, he's not on the grid, which indicates that the problem that they experienced this afternoon in practice, between this afternoon's practice, you can see the car on screen now, car 2, and this particular first event.
Yeah, I think Ian's having trouble also with the heel and toe. I've heard the car in some of the braking areas, and he's just sort of having a little bit of trouble. He needs some more practice at that particular thing.
Okay, now there's just one corner remaining before the pace car dives off the track and this race is underway. Notice they're hanging back from the pace car a bit, wanting to get a run on the start line. Charlie O'Brien alongside Jim Richards, who gets the run.
I think Jimmy's got the jump. Yes, Jim.
Richards down the inside. Brad Jones looking for a way down the inside on Richards again, squirming all over the road. Jones gets locked out. It's Faulkner around the outside in the 46 car. Now he's entirely on the wrong side of the track for that corner. But lined up well for the second. Takes over second position as Jones comes alongside him. Richards uncharacteristically off the track.
Yes, gone off with some... oh, and he's got a problem in his front left too.
Yeah, Richards
Major
a real problem.
That's not...
that looks like engine.
That's an engine problem, I'd say. That's oil smoke, yeah.
No, hang on, Alan's coming from the front left, so something's gone right away on the car. The smoke coming from the front left tyre. You can see the sheet metal's pushed back. Would it just be a sheet metal hard into that tyre?
It's possible. When he certainly went off onto the grass with his cold tyres, and he made the suspension travel, may well have picked a tyre up, folded it in and pulled it right down on the tyre, but his Faulkner's hit the lead and is quite comfortable for this for one lap.
So it's John Faulkner from Charlie O'Brien from Brad Jones as Jim Richards heads for the pits.
Well, and Faulkner loves that clean air. He got it in the AUSCAR race. He's got it again in the NASCAR race.
And Faulkner really working the big car. Don't these cars look bigger on this track than the AUSCARs did?
Absolutely, and Faulkner's car is an Oldsmobile, followed by O'Brien's car, which is Thunderbird. Bradley Jones having a go on the inside, but not quite getting. They go back into the straightaway again to record another lap, and we have got caution on the racetrack. In fact, the pace car has come out.
Yes, pace car out. Bradley didn't see it and went jumped past Charlie, but he's pulled back now in his right position.
Well, it looks like it's going to be one heck of a race when it restarts because Jones certainly is putting out the challenge to O'Brien. Meantime, whatever was wrong with Jim Richards' car was under the bonnet, and the haste with which the team is putting that back together again tells us that there's every possibility Jim will be back in the race.
Dick Midgley, a very, very astute guy, Al, when it comes to making decisions under crisis like this.
Yes, certainly. I don't know why the pace car came out. Maybe it was debris on the track, but I've been almost certain that Jim Richards would be a lap down anyway.
And we believe it's oil on the circuit is what we're getting from race control. And we see the oil down unit heading to the bottom end of the circuit, and they'll be distributing some of those rice husks, which absorb all the material.
Well, if you add up the plumes of smoke we saw coming out of Jim Richards' car, that's on the left-hand side of the car, which is the oil line and oil cooler side of the car. So you add that smoke up to the fact that the oil flags are
on the circuit, and he will tack onto the back of the field, but the car's going ever so slowly.
Here he comes now. That's Goodman back out into the event. Meantime, you'd have to ask the question, did the oil line pop? And they're racing.
Restart.
John Faulkner blocks the line down the inside. Coming on the outside is Charlie O'Brien. Then hooks to the inside. Faulkner's got him covered. Brad Jones around in third position.
I have to wonder, John, if there was a breather for Bradley Jones, that time for him to reassess, adjust his belts, make himself that little bit more comfortable given his condition.
Kim Jane coming now into fourth position. And up over the dog leg. Faulkner covering his line, using the ripple strips, making his car 3 times as wide as it is, and it's already a wide car.
There's Kim Jane in fourth spot. He's got through the pack pretty well.
And of course, he's coming up behind Bradley, and the two of them involved in that event at the Thunderdome last time around.
Charlie O'Brien now down the inside on John Faulkner, side by side into the braking area. O'Brien won't give it away. He's got the inside line. Faulkner around the outside. Can he hold it there? Jones looking for any advantage he can on Faulkner.
Charlie O'Brien, a man on a mission. And just coming into the background of that shot, I noticed the 2 Valvoline cars of Barry Graham and Max Dumpsty, so they're starting to move up.
Brad Jones really working this car of his as he climbs all over the back of Faulkner.
Charlie O'Brien in car number 15 for BP as the race leader as he goes past to record another lap. And right behind him, John Faulkner, Bradley Jones, the two of them going to the extreme right of the track to take the left-hander. And sitting in behind them is Kim Jane in car number 27.
Faulkner now really the turn in, as you saw from Faulkner then when he just wrenched the wheel over
yes.
to get the car to turn right.
Yes, they really need a more active steering, a smaller ratio here, but that's everybody's running, I think, the lowest ratio you can get.
Jim Richards lies back in 16th position.
Yeah, the cars look great over that dog leg. They're really working. It's so hard. You see, coming out of this corner onto the straight, you see the marks on the road. All of those leading cars are wheel spinning, both rear wheels, in a straight line out of the corner. That's just sheer grunt.
Brad Jones now down the inside again on John Faulkner.
And got
this
him.
time he's got him, but Faulkner again has learnt the trick that if you stay on that outside, you just might get lucky, but not this time.
No. Getting some marbles on the outside of that track, I think, John.
Yes. Now Jones
come
goes
back.
wide, Faulkner down the inside. This is not doing their tyres any good at all. They are really working the tyres over. So the Valvoline cars back in 5th and 6th position could well start to make their move up on this point. 7 laps remaining.
And of course, while those two battle, Kim Jane is able to take the clean, fast lines and hook onto the back of them.
Okay, this time now, John Faulkner comes out of the draft on Jones
and
gets him,
locks
turns in.
Oh, everything happened there. Also got a car off at the end of the straight, but I think he's out of the firing line, so they'll probably leave him alone.
That was Kyle Robinson's car. Yeah, Jane's very much in contention, isn't he, in 4th position at the moment. Just waiting for something to go wrong with the two cars in front of Hill Powers.
We have a part track caution down where Robinson went off to allow recovery of the vehicle, and the race continues.
They're certainly giving Charlie a nice little look at clean air out in front with these two dueling so hard.
And behind all this action, we've got the Valvoline team cars. You see them at the back of the picture. They're having their own little fight between Max Dumsney and Barry Graham.
Oh, I think they'd be pretty much under team orders. I don't think there'd be too much heavy dueling going on there.
Okay, Jane now onto Faulkner. Jones opens just a little bit of a gap. Jane senses that maybe Faulkner's vulnerable and does it.
Yep.
So Faulkner, maybe the tyres have gone off. Certainly he's got a problem. He wouldn't have made it that easy.
Yeah, the car slowing rapidly.
Faulkner heading for pit lane. Now he pulls out.
No, it looks like pit lane, John.
Yep, he's heading for pit lane.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Some sort of a problem. Maybe it's brakes. It's a shame. That's a shame.
Charlie's fairly determined he'll do the rest of the season as a privateer. But he's done a good job for the company, I think. He's certainly shown the colours well.
Whoa. What's happened there? Dust everywhere.
We'll see Barry Blake and Ian Thomas disappearing over the hill, but no
indication.
indication.
Side by side.
O'Brien now with 4 laps remaining. Brad Jones, who's doing his level best to catch. Big crowd here at Oran Park tonight too to watch this. People of Sydney have really responded to the idea of NASCAR and AUSCAR racing. Enjoyed it so much at Eastern Creek last year.
Yeah, Charlie's doing a great job. He's got that clean air gap, making the most of it. Look at the 2 black marks that comes out of the corner. It's disappointing he's losing that sponsorship. I can't see a better billboard going around than the markings on that car at the moment.
Kim Jane is in 3rd place, Max Dumsney in 4th, Barry Graham in 5th, Walter Giles in 6th. There goes Kim Jane. Jim Richards has worked his way up to 14th position. Being 1 lap down, that's as far as he'll get in a 15-lap race.
Now, Kim's got to keep his mind right on the job. Kim can be as quick and run with anybody in this category, but then sometimes the fog seems to come down and Kim makes a little error here or there. Here's Jimmy Richards certainly making his way through the field. He's up higher than 14th. And he's certainly hooked on to Barry Graham. And that to me suggests to me he's about to pass him because he's come from a long way back to put his car in that position. There it is, down the inside. Thank you. Get the muscles going, the biceps and the wrist strained with no power steering. That'll be worse than a Bedford truck to drive. Oh, he'll get out of that. Don't shake hands with him when he gets out of the car. Oh, it's as well he's sitting so close to the wheel. I've always found that even in a road race car, I always sit a little bit closer to the wheel than I feel I have to, so that if anything does go wrong with the suspension and you have to muscle it, you're in a better position to. And it's fortunate in NASCAR seating positions, he's up pretty close and got the muscles going, the sweat will be coming off the brow.
And it's not a small wheel either, is there? There's just one lap to go. And there's your race leader, Charlie O'Brien. And look where Brad Jones is. He's closed substantially. He's got 2 corners to go.
And they're both throwing it around. They're both trying, and those tyres look like they might have been going off a little bit.
You only need one mistake from Charlie in this situation, and Brad's on him. 1 corner to go. Right down on the brakes now. Down through Recaro corner. Coming up onto the straight. Sideways from Brad Jones, but he can't do it. And it's Charlie O'Brien who takes heat 1 of tonight's Valvoline NASCAR Night of Thunder NASCAR race at Oran Park from Brad Jones with Kim Jane in 3rd position. Barry Graham will be in 5th. Max Dunn.
Extra tape on his screen that he had on for that setting sun.
Who finished 10th in the first heat will now start from position 1. Alongside him, Western Australia's Barry Blake, then Ian Thomas, then Adam Pay, Walter Giles and Barry Graham. Right back to 10th position as we come up now to the start with the pace car's lights off and we're ready for a race start. Pace car away, starter pats them down, then waves the green flag and they're racing. Tinworth, from his first ever pole position, is about to be swamped by the field.
Now four wide going to the first corner. Somebody's going to be banging the door handle. Whoa, one slipped off the outside.
Yeah, it's
2,
Barry Blake from Western Australia.
3,
Big trouble.
4.
That was Faulkner off as well.
Then there's a dust storm over the back.
And out of it all emerges Ian Thomas in the lead. Right there in car 2 in the Palm Royale Cairns car. Realise, of course, that this is the first time that these drivers have seen Oran Park at night time. They weren't allowed to practice in the dark. So Ian Thomas in the lead. Behind him comes Walter Giles in the 91 car. Then Brad Jones out of the slipstream of Giles, down the outside, ranging alongside now, looking for a way through. Giles is going to have an inside, hold his inside line there. He's not going to punt Brad Jones right off the track. Over the ripple strip. Very hard in these darkened conditions at the back of the circuit to pick your apexes. Ian Thomas holds his lead.
There's Bradley down the inside to go into 2nd, and Jim Richards is looking very threatening in 5th position at the moment too. I'd say he'd be looking for a run down the straight.
Maybe it's an illusion, but I couldn't help thinking that there was some smoke coming from the back of Richards' car once more, but we'll check that out as he comes around the next time. Thomas, the race leader.
Richards and Graham side by side, and Richards takes it over from Barry Graham. Car
Who's
off,
gone off?
and it's Ian Thomas, the race leader.
Got the old heel and toe wrong, I'd say, and locked the rears up, and then it's a battle to the dirt.
Now Brad Jones in the lead. Behind him is Walter Giles.
And Jim's latching onto the back of them very, very quickly. I'd say we're looking at another pass down into this. No, he's not quite close enough, but he'll get a run out of this corner, get on Giles' tail and pull out of for an inside run at the end of the straight.
Giles has a look down the side of Brad Jones. Giles, in fact, heads for Indonesia on Tuesday to race in an event there next weekend in an AUSCAR as a personal guest of Tommy Sahato. Meantime, down the inside goes Jim Richards.
In the inside, yeah, holds it, and he'll set out to do exactly the same thing. I bet he's finding it a lot better in this race on the biceps and the wrists with the power steer pump hooked back up again.
Bradley Jones uses all the track wisely. Jim Richards behind, finessing the car through the corner. Then come the two Valvoline cars of Barry Graham and Max Dumsney in that order.
Looks like Barry Graham was smoking just a tad then too, going over the top.
Richards ever so slightly closer to Brad Jones. And just look how dark it is when you get outside the arena of the lights. Jones now forced to take the inside run to hold out Jim Richards. Richards, a faster entrance to the corner. Looks for the inside run on Jones, can't find it. Has to adjust his speed back.
He's certainly looking for a way through now. I'd say he'll try and get the run out of this corner, hold him across the flip-flop, and then have a charge down the inside. I can think he can smell the lead down to the bottom of this, but no, he's just lost that little bit going over the top there. Have a run at him coming out of the corner. Try and slip him in. No, just on that little gap again.
5 laps remaining.
Well, that car's got some power though. Look at it haul Bradley in the straight line. Brad has a bit of a fend, blocks the inside. Jim looks outside, and look at the discs starting to glow. You can really see the heat coming into those discs in that last shot. Oh, and he's boxed in behind a black car. Jim will not be happy about that one.
The solid car walks Richards a little bit down to Bomo.
I'm inclined to believe there's not a problem. Jim's car, I've noticed a couple, it would be the kitty litter, in fact, over the flip-flop that's making some of the cars look like they're smoking, Al.
Jones has got that 3, maybe 4.
Word from the pits is that Charlie O'Brien did not start in this race purposely because it doesn't count for the grid positions for the one where the points are on in the next event. So he's purposely held back to compete in the event that really counts, round 3.
Now let's see if we can see the discs glowing here as they turn into the corner. Yes, there they are. Look at that red hot. In fact, more than red. They're very light yellow in temperatures. That's hotter than red hot.
It is a great look, isn't it? Just as you look inside the wheel itself and see that disc glowing away.
Well, it gives you an idea. See, it's still there's a very, very light application into that corner only, and you can see that the temperature's down to red, which is still very, very hot. Not as bad as the yellow colour.
Jim Richards again on Bradley Jones. Jones has got the corner covered as they come up onto the straight. In the pits is Gerald McDornan. Three laps remaining. This time Jim Richards down the inside. This time Richards has got it. The car squirming all over the road. Bradley won't give way. Bradley's forced to give way.
Look at those discs. Look, they're still red. Now we'll see as the car goes past the front of our camera shot. There they are, still red again.
Now can Jones fight back? Jones tight on Richards over the top, maybe not tight enough. Down here into the braking area. Jones goes for the inside run. Richards left the gate open, and Jones took no time at all to get in. Now Richards fights back on the outside. They'll be side by side as they go into the braking area. Richo moves across on Bradley. Bradley's got the line, but only just. Richo. And it's Bradley Jones.
Oh, great racing. Absolutely. These two motorsports professionals are putting on a tremendous show here, and the car control was amazing. 3,300 pound, I understand, tonight. They're allowed to take the ballast weight out of a mountain.
Yeah, they're allowed to run 200 pounds less for circuit racing. And that simply means moving the lead around and taking a bit of the lead out. 1 lap remaining as they come up onto the start-finish line. This time, Bradley Jones in the lead. Jim Richards in second spot, Walter Giles in third, Barry Graham in fourth, Kim Jane in fifth, John Faulkner in sixth. And in the pits, as Jim Richards locks up and goes off. So there goes second place and maybe third as Richo comes back onto the track in front of Walter Giles, in front of Brad Jones.
They both went off.
They both went off. How
Yes.
about that?
Oh, look, sparks
this.
flying.
Sideways.
What a treat for the fans. This is huge. Jimmy Richards in the lead.
Richards now one corner remaining where this can be changed, and look at
Barry Graham's run through.
starting to challenge. Jim Richards down the inside. Brad Jones trapped on the outside. He won't do anything from there. Barry Graham now starts to go. The drag for the flag. It's
One left.
Jim Richards. Jim Richards from, I'd say Brad Jones, from Barry Graham in that order.
Oh, what a race.
And Kim
Top.
Jane, Walter Giles, Faulkner Robinson, Pay Dumsty and Lance.
Top racing, but both of them off with one lap remaining as they went down into Ardjib corner. Let's see that again and see just what happened to them under the brakes. You call it, Alan?
Well, they're both very committed. You look at the cars squirming around before they actually turn them in. Now, it looks like Jim's driven off, I'd say, because he saw that Bradley was spinning. Now, once he's got off, of course, the thing won't turn left because it's on grass. So it takes him all the rest of the corner to get it back, entice it back onto the bitumen. That's why he's slow getting back there. And in the meantime, Bradley's got it round the right way, fired up again. So they come out of the greatest schmozzle side by side.
And of course, Barry Graham there at the end within striking distance.
Yes, well,
the flag come down.
They're all over each other and working so hard.
Let's see it
Here
again
they are
from
from the other angle, yes.
Yep.
I'm sure you'll see Bradley goes around first and then Jim drives off the road to avoid him. Because it's better to hit the grass than hit another 3,300-pound car. And there it is. Bradley's gone too far. It's missed the apex. The tail's out. Jimmy said, I'm going over here. I'm not going to hit you. Right
But he
round the
almost
outside.
does.
Oh,
Right
almost
round the
does.
outsides. Then he come on, get back on the track. He won't come back onto the bitumen. So by the time he gets it back there, Bradley's got it in the right way and arrives on the scene
Almost now.
and says, excuse me, I was that there.
Top racing, really good entertainment for the very large crowd here at Oran Park tonight. In the pits is Gerald McDornan. Car Championship at Oran Park. The leader and winner, Jim Richards, from Brad Jones, Barry Graham, Kim Jane.